The Football Association have asked Manchester United forward Alejandro Garnacho for an explanation over a controversial media post which included two gorilla emojis. Garnacho used the emojis above a picture of his United teammate and goalkeeper Onana being mobbed by his teammates after saving a penalty in the final minute of United's 1-0 win over FC Copenhagen in the Champions League. The post was later edited and then, in fact, removed completely. But Onana himself posted two stories on Instagram. This first one saying, "People cannot choose what I should be offended by. I know exactly what Garnacho meant, power and strength. This matter should go no further." And Onana then followed that with another picture of him and Garnacho celebrating together. OK, let's get to some reaction on this story. Kick It Out CEO Tony Burnett joins us live right now. Tony, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us here on Total Football. First of all, what was your personal reaction when you saw that social media post?
Surprise, I guess. Yeah, complete surprise. And I think but also in all these situations, I'm always conscious that what I want to try and do is avoid outrage. Because I think outrage is often blocking the opportunity for dialogue and learning in these situations. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to create an environment of dialogue and learning around this incident.
United have said that they are talking with the Football Association. What exactly will they be considering when they are looking at this incident, Tony?
Well, I mean, look, there are three things, and in any incident of this nature, the first two things are impact and intent. And quite often in these situations where emojis are used, it's really easy to assess the intent, because 9 times out of 10 they're used in a racialized context where they're completely inappropriate and they're designed to cause offence. Now, in this case, those emojis, it appears, weren't used in that scenario at all. Now, I'm not defending the use of them, but they weren't used in that context at all. So from an impact, an intent perspective, the impact on Onana, he's come out himself and said no offence was taken, and the intent certainly wasn't negative. That for me then leaves two further questions, which is, we've got a system in the UK where lots of players come to the UK from different countries, and this is a conversation I think that's been going on since Cavani, since the case with Bernardo Silva, and before. We have a responsibility to make sure that those players are educated into the norms of UK culture, and what's appropriate in the UK may well not be appropriate in their country of origin. So we have a responsibility for education. And the PFA put lots of really good courses on in this space, as we do with academy players. So we just urge clubs to make sure players are signed up and they're educated so that these things don't occur in the first place.
Just as a little follow-up to that, is it the onus on the clubs? Is it the onus on the Football Association? Is it the onus on the player's entourage, on his agent, for example? Who provides that education?
No, I mean, look, I think this is an issue. If you think about this, let's just take, because football is really high profile, I get that. Let's just think of this outside the footballing context. We've got a situation now in the UK where we have many different people in many organisations from different parts of the world. The employer has an obligation to train their employees around appropriate behaviours. In a lot of organisations, that will be called dignity at work approaches. What constitutes bullying and harassment? What constitutes appropriate versus inappropriate behaviour? Football players are employees of their football club, and the football club has a responsibility to make sure those players, as employees, are trained when it comes to appropriate versus inappropriate behaviour. And now, if they can evidence they've done that, and issues still occur, then there's a different conversation. But where that's not taking place, it just leaves so much opportunity for misinterpretation and a lack of cultural context, and problems like we've experienced here. So I'd just urge clubs to take the responsibility seriously, engage with the PFA rather, and others, and get players trained to understand their responsibilities when it comes to behaviour.
You mentioned earlier, Tony, about Edinson Cavani, and that I believe was a textual reference, and Bernardo Silva, where he used an emoji. They were both banned for those social media posts in the past. Can you see any similarities with this case?
Look, yeah, of course there are similarities, but as I said, the impact and the intent here were both, there was no offence intended very clearly. There's a question about whether the Garnacho understood what he was doing and the implications of the information he was sharing, and the impact on Onana is clearly he's come out in support of his colleagues. So let's use it as an opportunity for dialogue, sensible dialogue about what's right and what's wrong, what's appropriate and what's not, and how we create standards that we can all buy into in football, where we know where the boundaries are, and this kind of stuff just stops happening.
Just with one further question to you, Tony, on Andre Onana's comments himself, because he said he didn't take offence. He knew what Alejandro Garnacho meant, power and strength, he said, and he said it should go no further. So if he isn't offended by what Alejandro Garnacho posted, should we just accept that or not?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a challenging context, because in a normal situation, in a workplace environment, of course, I mean, you would, if it was a personal message between two colleagues, there'd be no comment about it. The problem and the challenge, of course, with footballers is that they're role models. We know that Garnacho is followed by millions of people on social media, and therefore he can't really say anything that isn't public, and that will, in situations like this, where it's public, it will cause offence to some people. Now, look, the alleged victim in this case has said he wasn't offended by it, but lots of people have obviously come out and said they're concerned. I'll repeat what I said earlier. Let's not get to the point where public outrage, is blocking the opportunities for dialogue and learning in situations like this. And that's what needs to occur. Education, conversation, and real learning for players, so that they can understand the responsibilities. But beyond that, I don't see a huge issue when it comes to what needs to happen next.
OK, Tony, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for coming on here on Sky Sports News.